I feel really sad today because I can feel other people's judgments. This is something that I struggle with. I've talked about it. I'm scared of other people judging me. I'm scared of other people's thoughts about me because I can feel it. I can almost like tune into their perspective and see myself through their judgmental eyes, and it hurts. And I know I'm the one allowing it to hurt me, but it's just because I don't know if this is an autistic thing, but I've always allowed other people's opinions of me to have a huge place in my life or have a huge impact on me. Maybe I was trying to figure out how to assimilate into society or figure out how to mask my autistic self so that I could fit in with everybody. So other people's opinions really held a lot of weight for me for my entire life. And I'm trying to undo that now and unlearn that now because I've realized how harmful it is for me to keep allowing literally everybody and their cousins' ideas about me to impact my self-esteem. Anyway, so here's the epiphany. And it's kind of like a mantra. If they have not lived it, they will not understand it. And they will judge. And this could apply to a lot of things. But basically what it means is if they haven't lived the experience, the embodied experience of the experience that you are having, they will not understand it. Unless they're extremely empathetic and unless they actually put effort into understanding your experience, they will not understand you, and so they will judge you. And, people judge each other based off of the societal norms, right? It's like the brainwashing we all go through. It's a very strict set of guidelines that if you're anywhere outside of that box, you're going to get judged because you're not in that box. And unfortunately, if you have an experience outside of that box, most people won't understand you because most people are in that box and they understand only what they have experienced. And I just need to keep repeating this to myself that if they have not lived it, they will not understand it and they will judge it. Because I've obviously living in my body, living through this experience, living in my neurodivergent brain and this particular body, like my entire life has been that, and I've been judged for it so much and continue to be. But it's not just that, it's also about, it could apply to so many other things. Like for me, it also applies to living in a bigger body, because people who've never experienced that will not understand it and will judge it. They will not understand what the experience is like to try to fit the box. I would need to develop an eating disorder, to try to fit their box. I would need to make myself sick and mentally really unwell. But there are some people who are just lucky enough, like Pete, for example, who are always in that box, who will always be in that box pretty much. I mean, so she didn't have to do anything out of the norm, out of what's healthy for her to just stay in that box. So they, people like that, unless, like I said, unless they're empathetic, they will not understand and they will judge. And the people who are not born to fit that box are the ones who never really get understood by these people who are the norm. And that's really sad, but it is the truth. It's the reality that I've experienced, and I'm sure many of you also have, if you really don't fit into that box. And like I said, it could go for so many things, like anything that's outside the experience of the norm that society expects of you. Anything outside of that, right? Like, for example, being autistic and not being able to work. if you've never lived that experience, you will not understand it and you will judge it. Most likely, if they were living that experience, even for just a day, they wouldn't judge it anymore because they would understand actually what it means, what the difference is, and how difficult it is to just function day to day with a brain and a body like that. So yeah, that's just my epiphany for today. I wanted to make this short video to share it with you all. And it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for all of us who've been judged for just living, just existing as ourselves, being in our bodies. Literally just existing was our crime. And that's what we get judged for. And that is just so heartbreaking to me. Hopefully one day in the future, everybody will become either more empathetic or more understanding, because this is not okay. This is not fine. The amount of like self-hate and shame that creates throughout a lifetime of being ostracized like this or being judged, that is just the most harmful thing. And I'm still working on trying to get rid of that layer of shame, that coating of shame that I carry because of years of not being understood and by virtue of that being judged. But I also have to be realistic and just say, like, the way things are right now in the world, I think we're really far away from that reality. And in our world as it is right now, we are still going to be judged by the people who don't understand us, who haven't lived our experience. So for that, the only thing you can do is try to be your own best advocate, I guess. Try to be your own protector self, who guards you against the judgment of these people who do not understand. And I've done a pretty crap job at that. I really have not defended myself at all, psychologically, from people who just cannot relate to this experience that I'm having in this body. I'm not necessarily talking about just the haters or like the trolls on the internet. I'm talking about, this could be family members. This could be close friends. This could be like a sibling, Because if really anybody who hasn't lived your experience, who's operating by the brainwashed way that society makes us all operate, anybody could be judging you. And when you let all of that in to influence your feeling of yourself, your sense of yourself, you just end up with a lot of shame. And it's really fucking painful to live like that, coated in so much shame. It really stops you from experiencing your life. It's very, very harmful. So yeah, my practice right now, literally day to day, is trying to let go of other people's judgments of me so that I could have a healthier self-concept. And I do think this is a very common experience for especially autistic people who were maybe late diagnosed, who didn't know they were autistic, because so much of the judgment we receive, we internalize because we didn't know what was wrong with us. We just didn't know why we couldn't keep up with everybody else, and that becomes really like self-defeating when you take that all and internalize all of it and be like, what's wrong with me? No, nothing is wrong with you. You're just living your own unique experience of what it's like to be in this body. And only you know this experience. And other people who don't know, who can't relate, cannot understand, will judge. I really wish there was like a quick and easy way to undo all that damage and just to, you know, oh, now I get it. Now I understand. This is my unique experience and I'm valid and I'm entitled to just existing and not feeling bad about that. But it's really hard to undo all of that, especially when you're raised with so much of it. So it's definitely a process. It's like I said, it's like a day-to-day practice for me at this point to try to separate myself from the judgments of others and from the perceptions of others. And it's really hard to try to form a perception of myself based entirely on my perspective and not taking so many other people's into account. But I think it's the healthiest thing to do at this point, because otherwise I'm just going to be drowning in self-hatred and shame for the rest of my life. And the problem is I can't change who I am to fit those other people's ideals. I'm literally stuck in the experience that I am living in this body. So if I can't change it, then I have to learn to accept it. And I have to learn to love it. Like, otherwise it's just excruciating to be alive in this body, in this form. And I really don't think other people realize how excruciating they make your experience by just judging you based off of, you know, what they perceive. They really don't know. I think they're much more oblivious than that. They really don't know. They really will never know. They can't know how their perceptions can actually impact you. So, you know, they're just living in their own innocent little worlds, and so it's nobody's fault. It's really nobody's fault. But I think as a neurodivergent, or even, you know, if you're not neurodivergent, but this, you know, impacts you in a different way, we really have to defend ourselves from other people's perceptions of us if we want to have like a healthier self-concept, and if we want to feel whole. Anyway, apologies for the noisy fridge this entire video, but this is the only place I can film with like a white plain background, so I hope that didn't bother you too much. I know it bothers me, but I can't just unplug the fridge every time I want to film. Apparently that's bad for the fridge. So anyway, let me know if you relate to this, and let me know how you relate to it, if you do. Yeah. I'll see you in my next video, I guess.